This is probably the biggest, craziest project I have ever done. 300 kilograms of epoxy glue for a tabletop 350 centimeters long and 150 centimeters wide. A huge number. From A to Z, all the secrets, all the difficulties, and all the moments of excitement will be revealed right now.
Ready? Let's get started. I will use a 2.4 centimeter thick pad to fix the base. A little tip, you can use a large iron frame to help prevent the table from warping. Next, I will use 12 8mm panels to create depth for the model. The stacking of veneers can be understood in two main ways. Stacked to increase thickness or create a layered effect, or stacked side by side to create a larger flat surface. Carefully place the boards side by side, aligning the edges for a perfect fit. Make sure the top surface of the boards is completely flat. Important notes when assembling 8mm boards. Board quality. Choose boards with stable moisture content and no warping. 8mm boards are very susceptible to warping if not stored properly or exposed to changing humidity. Cutting accuracy. This is the key factor. The straighter and more perpendicular the cut, the tighter and more beautiful the joint. Use a sharp saw blade or a high-precision table saw. Mastering the technique of 8mm board assembly will help you create more durable and professional products. To hold the boards together, use the right amount of glue. Too little glue will weaken the joint. Too much glue will spill out, causing waste and making it difficult to clean up. Always read the instructions for the glue you use.
Quay ngược đời cứ nghĩ đến cái để bắt mình quay gì nó đâu bắt mình quay cơ gì.
I will use MDF boards to make the table frame. Place the boards in a frame around the bottom. Secure them with screws. Screw from the outside of the frame to the edge of the bottom, and from the outside of the long board to the edge of the short board.
Cái nào new là quay tiếp cái đường quay tiếp cũng thế. Tiếp tục quay. Đổ cái phần biển này.
Đổ hết ngập luôn này.
Anh ngập luôn chứ phải không?
Vâng, đổ biển nó ngập luôn. Ở trong ngập.
Sealing gaps. Use neutral silicone sealant or hot glue to seal all small gaps between the bottom and the mold walls, as well as gaps in the corners of the mold. This prevents epoxy from leaking out. Make sure the wood is completely dry, humidity below 12%. Damp wood will release water vapor and gas, creating a lot of air bubbles in the epoxy and reducing adhesion. Clean the wood surface, remove dirt, grease. If there are many holes, cracks in the wood, you can consider pouring a thin layer of epoxy primer first to seal and reduce the amount of air bubbles escaping from the wood when pouring the main layer. Let this primer dry the surface before pouring the main layer.
Nó hết cả glue luôn. Sao chỉ cho chị dính tay pha đầu ngón tay đâu, sao cả bàn kia thì dính áo mày,
dính thật đó.
chị ngọc lên đấy chứ.
With 300 kilograms of glue, you will definitely need to mix and pour in several batches. Never mix all the glue at once. Read the manufacturer's instructions carefully. Each type of epoxy glue has different mixing ratios and working times. This is mandatory. Common mixing ratios are 3A to 1B or 2A to 1B by weight. Take it one step at a time, and don't hesitate to seek help or advice from experienced people if needed. Carefully spread thin layers into the cracks of the table. Be patient and try your best.
Đồ Việt Nam chú Dương. Bản đồ Việt Nam ấy chú. Vâng.
Cái này làm được cái treo nằm chanh à?
Bàn họp.
Bàn họp.
Kênh vẫy người rồi.
Khi đổ cái sạch thì nửa tấn treo.
Vâng. Phải nghiền lên đúng không?
Là con nghiến nó nhận được là tận trong nhau.
Như Nha Trang ấy.
Nha Trang.
Mà nó toàn là gỗ kiểu gỗ nghiến vụn nhau ấy.
Vâng đúng rồi.
Cái nhà đấy là nào dọn chết.
Bụi lắm đúng không?
Mà xong tháng nay treo một bát ở nhà nộp cái men đấy.
Nó không ăn mà không ăn ngày đâu.
Chạy lên.
Như kiểu lần này em cách đồ phát là lên sạch luôn.
Do you know why I painted a primer on the tabletop like this? This is a super easy concealer trick that allows you to create a solid or even completely opaque color.
The glue I am using is 3A to 1B epoxy glue. Color type: use specialized epoxy glue colors, liquid or pigment powder. Avoid using acrylic or water-based colors because they can ruin the glue's curing process. After measuring the correct amount of glue A and glue B into 2 separate cups, add a small amount of brown color to the cup containing glue A plastic. Stir the color with glue A. Use a clean stirring stick to stir the color with glue A until the color is completely dissolved and uniform. Stir the A plus B mixture. Slowly pour glue B into the cup containing glue A mixed with color. Use a clean stirring stick to stir the glue mixture slowly and evenly for about 3 to 5 minutes. Make sure to scrape the sides and bottom of the cup so that the ingredients are completely mixed. Stirring too quickly can create a lot of air bubbles. Try mixing and matching similar colors to create a stunning 3D effect. We have many ways to blend the colors together naturally. You can use a hot air gun to spread them, helping the colors blend together. Or use a stick to stir in the direction of spread that we want. Today, I will use the heat of the blower to save time. Let's see the result of the first foundation I created myself. Creating a wave effect on an epoxy table is a fun technique that requires meticulousness and a little bit of skill to achieve a realistic look. Follow me in step 2. Using the mixed opaque white glue, create a thin line where the waves hit the shore. I'm making a brown beach. Do you think this color is nice? You can use a hairdryer, high air setting, no heat, or low heat. Or just use the air from a blowtorch to gently blow on this white glue line. This will spread the white glue, creating a natural wavy effect. Blow firmly and do not stay in one place for too long. Accuracy in mixing glue. This is the most important factor. Always use an electronic scale and follow the manufacturer's mixing ratio. Incorrect ratio will cause the glue to not set or have a poor surface quality. If you are new to this, experiment on a small piece of wood or sample material before working on a real table to get used to the technique and test the color and effect. Repeat the process of pouring blue strips and creating waves if you want to create more layers or larger waves. Epoxy has a limited pot life, the amount of time you can work with the glue after mixing. Have everything ready before mixing and work quickly and decisively. Now, for the final step, we will mix a large amount of epoxy, like I used 200 kilograms, to fill the entire tabletop. Note: divide into several different batches to ensure correct ratio and working time. Final step: pouring a large amount of epoxy overlay. Once the wave effect, or any other 3D design, has been created and the previous layers have dried, the final step is to pour a thick, uniform layer of clear epoxy over the entire tabletop. This will help protect the surface, create shine, depth, and finish. Pour slowly and evenly. Start pouring the mixed glue slowly and evenly into the center of the tabletop. Let the glue spread to the edges. Make sure the entire tabletop and edges, if you want an edge-to-edge effect, are covered with a full layer of glue, and there is no shortage. Maintain a stable room temperature. Make sure the work area has a stable temperature, around 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, and low humidity throughout the curing process. Temperatures that are too low can slow or prevent curing, while temperatures that are too high can cause the adhesive to cure too quickly and create air bubbles. Be patient. Epoxy resins need time to cure completely. The surface may be dry and rough after 12-24 hours, but to reach maximum hardness and strength, it usually takes 3 to 7 days, or even longer, depending on the type of resin and the thickness of the layer poured. Avoid touching, moving, or placing heavy objects on the table during this time. Random orbital sander, Highly recommended for large surfaces to ensure flatness and efficiency. Grits from coarse to superfine. P400, P600, P800, P1000, P1200, P1500, P2000, P3000, or higher, like P5000, P7000, for maximum shine. Start with coarse sandpaper. Start with 150 or 600 grit sandpaper, depending on how smooth the original surface is and the scratches that need to be removed. Wet the surface and the sandpaper. Use a sander or hand sander in a circular motion, covering the entire surface. Do not press too hard and move continuously to avoid creating dents or heating the glue. You will notice the surface becoming dull. This is normal. Gradually increase the grit of the sandpaper. After finishing sanding with P150/P600, wipe off the dust and water from the surface. Switch to P800 sandpaper. Repeat the wet sanding process. Continue with the higher grits, P1000, P1200, P1500, P2000. Important: after each sanding step, make sure that the scratches from the previous grit are completely removed. You can check by wiping the surface dry and looking under bright light. If there are still large scratches, go back to the previous grit. When you reach P2000, the surface will be quite smooth but still opaque. For the highest gloss, you can continue with P3000, P5000, even P7000. Polishing process. This step will restore the transparency and shine to the epoxy surface. Apply a small amount of compound to the table surface. Attach the wool pad to the polishing machine. Start polishing at low speed, spreading the compound evenly over the surface. Then gradually increase the speed, about 1200 to 2000 RPM. Move the machine in a steady motion. Do not hold it in one place. The compound will begin to dry and create a thin film. Continue polishing until the surface begins to shine and the small scratches disappear. Apply a small amount of polish to the surface. Replace the wool pad with a foam pad. Repeat the polishing process as above, but increase the machine speed slightly, about 1500 to 2500 RPM, to create a high gloss. Brush evenly until the surface reaches the desired gloss.
You have been on a meticulous journey to create your unique Ocean Wave epoxy table. From preparing the surface, arranging the 3D materials, mixing the colored resin, pouring each wave layer, to pouring the final resin layer and sanding and polishing, now you have reached the final and most satisfying step, admiring the finished product.